Welcome back to Molten Lava Wargaming. This is War in the Pacific Admirals Edition, play-by-email campaign playing as Japan. We're now setting up the December 10th, 1941 turn. Where we left off, we had a relatively uneventful turn. Uneventful not in the sense that there wasn't much going on, but that the things that were going on weren't all that huge. We probably sank something like a dozen enemy ships. But none of them were really any more valuable than, say, a minesweeper. But the important thing is that our plans are moving along and we're not being interfered with too much at this point. So just starting off in China then, mostly for now worrying about freeing up decent-sized units. One thing I did change, I noticed over here that Canton doesn't really seem to be in any immediate danger. The enemy's pulling out, so we have a pair of units here in Canton that aren't really needed to defend Canton if those enemy units aren't going to threaten it, so they're going to go ahead and participate in the Hong Kong siege. Yeah, that's really, I think, all I have to say about China. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fluid, but we're not really making any pushes while we're busy consolidating. In Malaya, Kwanton falling has been kind of a big deal. So I moved in all these zeros and Oscars over here, and there'll be more on the way in future turns. But this is good for now. But between the fact that we're not really seeing any sign of enemy surface forces, with the exception of some intermittent contacts here at Singapore. You can see here there's a few of these task forces are being reported as containing cruisers, so it's possible that Force Z is hanging out here, but we don't really know. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing to consider is that we've shot down a lot of torpedo bombers and a lot of fighters. Enemy air attrition has been pretty awful. So those two things combined basically mean that the possibility of hitting Mersing is looking really good right now. So with Kwanton taken, we have air forces available to provide air cover for that invasion. So then the question is surface cover. So we do have our heavy covering force over here. We've got our heavy covering force over here. And I think what's going to happen is if I make a move on Mersing, we're going to combine the two, or maybe not literally combine them, but they'll both be assigned to escorting that task force, since Force Z looks like it's going to be the bigger deal right now. Unlike in the previous campaign, there really hasn't been any surface threat that's been materializing over here at Borneo and Sarawak, so it looks like Mersing's going to be what it is. We're looking at a much more conservative opening from the Allied players this time, and that kind of means I'm going to try to fill that gap. And another sign of kind of conservative play here. The Alor Star units are already retreating. We can see Georgetown retreating, Taiping's retreating. So maybe they're going to try to hold this line around Kuala Lumpur, but for now, this looks like a full Sir Robin. All the more reason to get into Mersing to try to cut that off before it happens. So yeah, so I'm actually trying to vacate this hex to let these guys retreat, because trying to trap this unit is going to be so much easier if we can at least get him onto the road over here, and then we can come in and force later. So he's doing me a little bit of a favor there. So moving on to Luzon. We've got a little bit of contact over in San Fernando. I'm not going to attack yet. We're going to continue to move additional units over from Vigan down to San Fernando before we attack and force there. Since we're only reporting one enemy unit in Lingayen, I'm going to go ahead and let this amphibious invasion go ahead and proceed to Lingayen directly. And part of the reason why I'm doing it that way is the potential drawback is that this is going to be an opposed landing, which means I'm going to take higher casualties than I would if I just sat down. But I kind of want to see how much worse it is. Because I think maybe here in the Philippines, especially with a single unit, morale broken, most of these enemy units not putting up a lot of resistance, maybe there's really just nothing to be worried about landing directly there. So we'll just try it, see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, then hey, I know for next campaign, go ahead and land in the places where I've already taken it instead of doing opposed landings. So we'll see how that goes. One concern that I have here is so really none of these units, you scan over them and they're all nothing units basically. I don't know, if those are actually LSTs, which they're not, but if they were, that would actually be pretty valuable. But I mean, most of these aren't classified. We've got a minesweeper over there, more unclassified. This one's showing as a light cruiser, and then more unclassified. And we did have one of our task forces said it was retreating from enemy surface forces. So we know the Houston and the Boise are probably here somewhere, and maybe this is them. Now that's concerning because I have kind of a soft underbelly thing going on over in the Philippine Sea. We don't have a whole lot of military combat power up here. So I really don't want, potentially a pair of enemy cruisers coming into here and doing stuff. And I don't really have a good answer to it, unfortunately. So for now, the light carriers are basically going to come up this way behind them. That should keep them in position to continue to launch strikes against these units that are scattered around the Philippines. But yeah, I mean, I wish I had somebody out in front of them that could intercept them, but I just don't. So that's what's happening there. Carrier Division 2 is staying put, basically. I don't want to try to move these guys through the shallows, especially when, for all I know, the real task force is actually still hiding here. I mean, just because they say this is a cruiser doesn't mean it is. So I don't want to do anything crazy with 2 fleet carriers. At Catawba, we're still waiting on this task force here to deliver some aviation support, so we're not moving any aircraft into there this turn. That'll be next turn. Muri and Mindanao will be attacked this turn. So we captured Kuching, but no aviation support there yet. I mean, we've got to build the airfield first anyways, so good thing I checked that, because that would have been a waste of a very valuable turn if I didn't click that button. So we're expecting Mindanao to fall. I need to give these guys orders to move out. Gotta leave one behind as a garrison. Yeah, I don't think we have enough to take Lingayen yet, but these guys will be delivering a Naval Guard unit as well as the aviation support, so that situation's going to be improving. We should have Ternate in another 2 turns. We'll have Mindanao next turn. This invasion's about to take place. Got a whole bunch about to land here on Dutch New Guinea. New Britain we're still holding. So this mine-laying task force headed to Rabaul hasn't been detected yet, so that's a good sign that maybe that's not being protected all that well. Quito Butai's still got a way to go to get back here. It's way over here. It's probably still 3 days, probably. Let's check that. It needs to move 56 hexes, and it's moving 8 per day. God, so at that rate, that could take a week. The surface task force assigned to that mission is this one. And it is still... So it's 25 hexes out, also moving 8, so it's 3 days out. And then call it 4 or 5 for New Britain. Don't know if I'm going to wait that entire amount, or it may just be time to have one of these task forces or the other sprint a bit. You know, other than that, going to be getting Nauru Island next. I'd like to move these forces into the Solomons soon, but, you know, like I said before, I'm a little bit reluctant to get involved there until we get some stronger covering forces in place. So that's going to do it for now. We'll see how it goes, so we'll see you for the combat replay. Thanks for watching. We're back. Combat replay now in progress for December 10th, 1941. Wonder who these are. Alright, so looks like an enemy PT attack against one of my amphibious groups. They're at 12,000 yards. We have, looks like 3 destroyer minesweepers as escorts. So this could be a lot worse if they were closer, although they are closing. Hopefully they don't get much closer than this. Okay, back out to 10,000. That's good. Alright, so they do not get any torpedo shots off, which makes me happy. Alright, what's this, a submarine tender probably? I think that's my mine-laying task force again. Yeah, with a submarine tender. And they're withdrawing again instead of laying their mines. Alright, just picked off a patrol boat tender. I actually consider those to be fairly valuable. We're seeing here that he is using his PT boats rather aggressively in the Philippines, so taking out this PT tender in the Java Sea is probably going to impact his operational procedures here. Now who are we running into? Starting to get kind of chaotic over there. I don't have many unescorted ships. This is a little disappointing that I let this happen, but hey, it's a miss. I got away with it. Alright, somebody hit a mine and it wasn't me. Looks like we've managed to kill this AKL with gunfire. Yep, heavy fire's heavy damage, and I don't believe we wasted any torpedoes. Naru's going to be in our hands in another day or two. New amphibious landing beginning at Sarong. This is a new one, I believe. Ternate receiving my troops for the first time. Also a new invasion at Brunei. A very busy turn as far as landings go. I think this is a new one too, Sambas. That's aviation support landing at Miri. And our depth charges aren't going to get deep enough to get this sub, sadly. There we go. Whew, how's that for overkill? 3 torpedoes on a small tanker that is carrying fuel. Alright. Baby KB runs into a light cargo ship. Wonder if this is the same AVD that we tried to attack yesterday and missed. Hopefully we can kill him here. Don't increase range. Yeah, huge waste of ammunition. Oh well. We can run him down, but we can't get close. Firing torpedoes at a destroyer at 20,000 yards. This is just dumb. Stop shooting torpedoes. There we go. Yeah, 20 centimeter hit, that's good. Looks like we might actually get him now. Now that torpedo's gonna sink him. Obviously, between the ship being closer and being damaged, including a waterline hit, that torpedo becomes a whole lot more effective. Yeah, now they're withdrawing because they're so low on ammo after that. Alright, let's see if we can get this guy. Shallow water. Getting damaging near misses. Can we get a real hit? Damn. Oh well, better than nothing. Looks like we spotted the Boise. Maybe. Interesting that the Allied ships are pretty much all going east of the Philippines. Oh, come on, stop canceling missions. I'm supposed to have clear weather today. Ah, this could be bad. Alright, we all get through. So I'm pretty sure that was the minesweeper that was clearing Bataan, so that would have been nice for him to take him out, although he's far away from Bataan now. Here we go. Badly needed sweep on Clark. Not bad at all. 3 killed. No losses. Yeah, not bad. So between both of those, we got 7 P-40s for the price of 1 0. Disappointing raid for troops in the open. That did nothing. Decent. raid against retreating enemy ground forces. This was very successful. Look at all these destroyed squads, guns, and vehicles. Lilies are not getting nearly as much done as the Sallies did. That's a pretty big bomb if it hits, but it didn't hit. Alright, Kotabaru raid. It's a lot of Blenheims. Wouldn't be too surprised if these guys get through since the nates are so poor. We don't have a lot of zeros here. A lot of my zeros are on mandatory rest this turn, because I had so much fatigue trying to protect the operation at Kwanton. Okay, just one destroyed, and we got him to run off. I can live with that. This is probably naval strike against amphibious forces here at Vigan. Morning air attack. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was intended to be a naval strike or a ground strike. In any case, turned him away. Yeah, so this is going to be a strike against the mini KB, and really neither the B-17s nor nates should be able to hurt each other that much. The nates are, the Claudes are just too slow, but enough to deter the B-17s apparently. That's surprising. Wonder who this is. Hopefully this is the Boise and Houston. I like that we're taking care of the cap, if that's who this is. No, it's not. So, it's a surprising amount of protection for what looks like a ship that wasn't all that important. But, I mean, we sank a ship and shot down 4 P-40s with no losses, so good for us. Hey, it's the Houston, and we got her. That was just 3 Kates, but enough for a hit. And just 2 Kates is enough for a hit on Boise, who is now heavily damaged. Hell yeah. Say goodbye to a subtender. Now why couldn't those 6 Kates go after one of the cruisers? Oh, no strikes from Carrier Division 2? That report of a torpedo bomber off Baker Island got my attention. Port attack at Kuching. I don't know what that's going to accomplish. May have to consider getting fighters there, if that's what's going to happen. Should at least get some AA there. This again. I'm guessing these guys are just getting a head-on pass, and that's pretty much it. With a critical hit, we can't shoot him down. But the battleships can. Alright, so attacking from 10,000 feet, Flak gets 1. There's Carrier Division 2. Didn't pick much of a target. Damn. Oh, the Kates are back. Apparently out of torpedoes. Alright, 2 bombs got through. Heavy damage from 1 torpedo, and we'll call it 2 bombs. 16 Kates, this could hurt. Oh, but it goes after a nothing task force. Hopefully it's not just this one AKL. Well, guess it's one less task force to divert me. Oh, just a light cargo ship off the US coast. It's not carrying anything important. Taking a look at San Fernando. Enemy AVs at 139, so that's something we're going to keep in mind when deciding to attack in the future. Monado's looking pretty good. Fort's down to level 0. Casualty rate looks great, so I could probably keep attacking. Miri's going to have no resistance. minimal resistance at Ren. Yeah, Sambas isn't going to be able to resist us. Alright, so reviewing the turn before we close this out. Now we usually start in China, but there's really nothing to say about China on this turn, so we're just going to go straight to Malaya this time. All our landing zones are still active. Singorapatani, Kotabaru, Kwantan Miri, and Kuching all remain active, and they're all just asking for enemy subs or airstrikes to show up. We initiated a new landing at Brunei, and then Miri was captured on this turn. In terms of attrition, we had sub-attacks ranging from outside Singapore down through the Karimata Strait area. With those we sank a patrol boat tender, a light cargo ship, and a tanker. We had our fairly routine airstrikes. The one most worth mentioning is the interdiction of the retreating troops at Taiping, because that destroyed 32 devices. And we can compare that to the raid at or just outside Kotabaru, in which no devices were destroyed, although we're hoping that we slowed them down so our ground forces can catch them. The enemy made a few attempted strikes. 15 unescorted Blenheims tried to attack Kotabaru. One of them was shot down by the defending cap, which was mostly Nates, and one of those Blenheims was shot down, and that was actually the only aircraft that was shot down in this theater this turn, which I found pretty remarkable. On the Borneo Sarawak coast, they made an attempted port attack on Kuching with 3 Dutch medium bombers. That strike caused no damage. Also of note, up in Thailand at Pisanolke, 3 Blenheims with a significant fighter escort of 14. That was Buffaloes and Blenheim IFs. Those attacked the airbase and scored 2 hits. And finally, there's a Dutch sub hanging out at Kuching that's trying to attack our amphibious groups there. We've damaged him a little bit, and so far we have not eaten any torpedoes, so hopefully we can sustain that. Over at the Philippines, we were much busier this turn, with ongoing landings at Vigan, Laog, Cotabato, Manado, Ternate, and Sarong. Actually, I think the Ternate and Sarong landings were just initiated this turn. We attempted a landing at San Fernando. Unfortunately, that landing was aborted because some PT boats came out to meet that amphibious task force, and that was enough to scare them off. Kind of frustrating, but it happens. We also had some naval combat. The heavy cruiser Neguro's task force engaged an AVD off the southeastern side of the Philippines. We managed to sink the AVD, but it took a while, so that task force is probably going to need to rearm soon. Our carriers were pretty busy. Between them, we managed to sink 3 AKLs, along with an AS and a tanker. We also managed to get significant damage on the Houston and Boise, enough that they're both being reported with heavy damage. The tanker that was attacked near Leyte had 7 P-40s protecting it, and we shot those down. That segues nicely into our offensive counter-air for the day. We had a sweep at Clark, which managed to shoot down 3 of 4 P-40s on cap. At Manila, they had 7 P-40s on cap. We shot down 4 of those at the cost of 1-0. For the enemy, they were somewhat active. We had 3 Dutch medium bombers make 2 sorties against our amphibious task force at Ternate, the first of which was escorted by 2 Buffaloes. They all missed. Then we also had a series of raids by B-17s, 4 of which tried to strike Vigan. They were routed by our combat air patrol. Then the mini KB was attacked twice, the first time by 3 B-17s, which retreated. Then they came back, managed to go through my fighter cover, and ended up just losing 1 bomber to flak. And the bombers that dropped, unsurprisingly, missed their targets. There's also an enemy submarine attack in the Strait of Luzon. It missed. At Takao, the American submarine Salmon was reported to have hit a mine. For land combat, we made our first attack at Mindanao. Forts there were reduced from level 1 to level 0, so we expect that we'll be able to take that tomorrow. So that's going to do it for the Philippines. A few odds and ends elsewhere. Just want to mention that we invaded and captured Nauru in the Gilbert Islands, and then off the west coast, one of our submarines sank a light cargo ship. All right, so that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys for the next turn.